Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Office Hours. It's the 4th of July edition, and 4th of July means freedom to me, freedom to appreciate our differences, to be all that you desire to be, the freedom to do what you want, when you want, with who you want, for as long as you want, is one of the great values of here. What we have, a unique experience in the United States of America. So hopefully we all not only appreciate our freedom, but appreciate our differences, is the theme that I have. For you, Blaine, before we bring on Michael, what for you is the meaning of freedom in the 4th of July?
Great question. You talked about differences. I think one of the great things, or one of the things that makes this nation great, is go back to history, the diversity of people that came in, the willingness to actually embrace differences, as opposed to exclusion. Excluding others is not part of the American dream. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that notion encompasses everybody. It doesn't exclude anybody. And to the degree that we find ourselves at any point in time, fearful of differences, fearful of people coming in, fearful of, all that, whatever people are afraid of, we do ourselves an incredible disservice. Because that is the secret sauce that makes who we are exceptional.
Absolutely. Well, let's bring Michael Scarpati on. He is the CEO of RetireUS, pun of RetireUS, and great to see you. He has an amazing financial wellness platform that he gives cost-effective access for a team of financial professionals. And I work in the industry with Marshall Falk and Ed Milet and a variety of others. One of the things that a lot of people don't talk to is, and it's relative to the United States 4th of July, is that the United States declared independence before they actually had it. I believe in 1776 they declared it, and it wasn't until 1783, 7 years later, they actually had freedom. With your empowering platform, it requires, I think, a declaration from people for financial freedom. You heard me, my definition of doing what I want, when I want, with who I want, for as long as I want. That's my objective, but it takes some financial planning in order to get there. You can't just have nothing. And so for you, Michael, what's your psychology of money and financial freedom pertaining to what we're discussing today for 4th of July?
Sure. Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me, David and Blaine. Great to see you. Good morning. Happy 4th to everybody that is watching with your family and loved ones. And, I'm glad that you mentioned it. The funny thing about today is, our founding fathers started a whole revolution over taxes. So seeking personal financial independence isn't just a smart move. It's literally the American way. And it does start with philosophy, right? It starts with a philosophy and a declaration. And, kind of as we celebrate Independence Day, it's kind of a perfect moment to just reflect on our personal financial freedom. And, particularly, really, what are the keys? How do we get there? We like to break it down into 4 key elements of financial freedom. And it really comes down to these 4 key concepts. It's mindset, math, strategy, systems. Mindset, math, strategy, and systems. Mindset is around having gratitude, an abundance mindset, knowing that this country particularly is built in a way where we all have creative freedom. Blaine, you were mentioning, what are the things that makes this country, so great and so special to you? For me, I would say it's we all have creative freedom and opportunity to live our lives how we see fit. We can come in and make choices and essentially manifest the life that we want to live. And I think that really all starts with just mindset, gratitude and abundance for what we have. Math is the second key, which is having clarity, vision, and calculation, right? There is some math components that are there. And then strategy is about planning out your path, and systems are creating self-sustaining places for your finances, something that's self-sustaining and indefinite and can last a lifetime.
Yeah, I love that's a very simple framework, and I love simplicity when it comes to wealth building.
Thank you.
The idea of declaration. I'm gonna drop a question in here, and then I'm very interested in how you actually work with this. But the idea that language creates reality, and how so you lead with mindset, and so mindset in large part, you've got this internal dialogue that is continuously going on, and where I'm going with this has to do with most people's proclivity to look to the external world as a determining factor to what they're going to have in their future. The external world they think is real. It's the internal world that's real, which is where declaration lives.
Sure.
And I make the declaration about wealth. I make the declaration about this is what I'm going to be, do, or have. Then I start doing what I need to do in order to have what I say I want to be. All that stuff comes to play here. With the clients that with whom you work, where does the actual declaration actually fit into the process with your clients?
It's a great question, and it's a deep question, and it really comes down to the power of choice. It's that first step of just saying, I am going to become more mindful of my financial situation. There's plenty of ways that you can skin this cat at the end of the day, but starting with gratitude, right? Starting with that internal mindset of I have everything that I need, and everything I need will be provided to me. Now, granted, that doesn't mean we can just sit and dream and hope and things are going to come, right? We know that we have to follow some of the other universal laws that do exist out there. 12 universal laws. We could go probably an hour on that topic, but the law of action is another big one, right? And so that law of action, that's the declaration. The thing is people fear sometimes taking action because it steps them into the unknown. But when we can kind of sit back and sit with gratitude first and be grateful, especially today. I mean, today is a great day to be grateful for what the men and women have done to get us here. And starting with that allows us to step into that action with.
And, to finish up, one of the key components, especially with RetireUS, is strategy. I find a lot of people are self-absorbed when it comes to financial planning, meaning the financial planners are self-absorbed and they're more motivated by how much money they can make and putting people into products that need to be pushed by the brokerage houses or other insurance companies or whoever else may be out there. Within the context of strategy, how do you best align the financial planners with the strategic empowerment to put the client first, to understand and align their timing and risk tolerance, not their own pocketbook?
Yeah, that's a great question, and it's a common misunderstanding in the industry. 85% of financial professionals work for an institution and have no fiduciary standard. So believe it or not, the investment advice, the strategy that they give doesn't have to actually be in the best interest for the client. And a financial freedom all comes down to building systems instead of focusing on products. Most advisors out there, because of the nature of the industry, has all roads leading to products. But the pursuit of financial freedom is like a game of chess. You have various pieces, each serving a different function. Every time one piece moves, you need to consider how it impacts the other pieces, especially your most important ones, your biggest nest eggs. And the major issue that I've seen in the past almost 15 years of being in this industry is most people actually aren't playing chess with all the pieces. They mostly have a bunch of pawns, and the pawns are just not even working together a lot of times. They're just moving forward and hoping they don't get crushed if the market crashes. A financial system is about kind of playing offense and defense simultaneously while constantly moving the game forward. So it's a substantially more effective approach that most people take. And for many, the issue is the cost. That's the barrier, unfortunately. Industry average to work with an independent certified financial planner fiduciary, it's $5,000 to $7,000 a year to have an expert build a system for you and manage it for you. over the course of that year. And I'm very proud to say that RetireUS, with the technology that we've built, we've been able to reduce that cost significantly. You can now work with an independent expert to build a personalized financial system for as little as $39.95 a month. So we've been able to reduce the price point by close to 90% because it's all about that independent fiduciary open architecture system.
That is amazing. Once again,
really amazing.
Thank you,
providing
guys.
more freedom. Financial freedom is one component. I love that gratitude is incorporated as well. Learn more about that $39.95 opportunity for the MMSS that can change your financial future. Go to retire.us. RetireUS is a great platform to create financial wellness, a holistic approach to a better life. What better guest could we have on the 4th of July, a day of freedom, to have the new Ben Franklin, the John Adams, the Thomas Jefferson of financial planning, Michael Scarpati. Scarpati, thank you so much for joining us.
What an honor, guys. Thank you so much.
You bet,
Right
Michael.
on. Have a good holiday. Thanks for joining us.
You too.
Right on. All right, we're moving right along. We have an incredible podcast host coming on of Successfully Unsuccessful, and he is a stewardpreneur. I love the term stewardpreneur. It's aligned with compassionate capitalism. Blaine, we're going to welcome to our show Josh Dietrich. Welcome to Office Hours.
Gentlemen, hey, how are you? Thanks for having me. I'm totally excited to be here. I'll tell you that.
Well, we're excited to have you. Happy 4th of July, as we have stated earlier. But I love your podcast, by the way, because inherent in that podcast is one of my favorite quotes. You're either humble or you're about to be. And your podcast bleeds humility. And I think incorporated in stewardpreneur as well, it bleeds humility. And in building your brand and building your business of stewardpreneur, I want to start out with the mindset of humility, the cornerstone of humility that you utilize to build such an amazing community and brand.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think humility is one of those things it's that soft skill. It's not really taught. It's experience. And it's experienced when we run into situations where we very quickly realize we're not set up for success, or we don't have the tools, or there are things about me that I need to work on. And all of those things kind of put into a blender remind us that as humans, we are not perfect people. We have tendencies to miss the mark every day. And I think the challenge with men and the world is that we really believe that we can go to family engagements on the 4th and not talk about finances, faith, and money. Like, the humility is the natural progression would be, I don't have this or I don't have that. I'm going to talk about this. Help me understand. And being willing to listen and learn and recognize your weaknesses. And I think coming from a place like that breeds vulnerability and allows so much openness to be shared. Not only you can see it in the podcast, but in just the way I live. I've been given so much, and the reality is none of it was deserved or earned. And so to realize that being humble is an ongoing effort to just be grateful. And we talked about gratitude already. So maybe that inspires some people to live in more humility, but I think vulnerability really breeds that strength to be humble.
Mm-hmm. Josh, I first of all, I love the title of the podcast, Successfully Unsuccessful. It kind of describes my life in a lot of ways. This is it's a great journey. The notion of ikigai, and I mentioned ikigai, the Japanese concept of that internal state that just gives you purpose. Most people, in my experience, are looking for purpose outside of themselves, and you're never not on purpose. In my experience, I have never not been on purpose in my life. Sometimes I've had a great deal of difficulty defining what that purpose is, but I've always been, just by the nature that I'm still breathing, I'm on purpose. In the work that you do with your clients, in the coaching work that you're doing, the humility piece comes into play. Being able to recognize that this plate of spaghetti I find myself living out is actually the way that success looks. You know, when you take the 50,000 foot level view of it, it's not a straight line trajectory. You're in the middle of a plate of spaghetti. How do you actually work with your folks so that resilience becomes part of the formula, not just humility and vulnerability, but resilience is a consequence of that?
Yeah, 100%. I think resilience is a word, again, one of those softer words that when we have to get back up because there's no other option, because if we lay on the ground and we stay dead and the vultures start to circle us, the resilience in us, the need to breathe, the need to go back to purpose, I think it's one of those things you have to continue to teach yourself. And for example, just as simple as the trend of doing cold plunges, the ability for the brain to be super cold and shiver and not want to be there, the resilience requires our brain to tell our body that it's okay, that we will learn, right? And so the same thing applies to men, to clients, to anyone who's trying to build anything. The word ikigai, Japanese for reason for being, as you described, is really about an individual's unique design from the creator, right? And so we always wonder this big open question: what is my purpose? What is the meaning of life? Well, very simply put, love God, love others, and make disciples. And so for much is given, much is expected. And so if I'm thinking about purpose, there is a reason I'm here. And if I am not going to continue to live in that purpose, it does impact all things, because we were made for a specific reason. And each and every day, if we're not able to get up and deliver as a husband, as a father, as a business owner, as a leader, as someone who is there to help others solve problems, that resilience, it doesn't allow us to live through our purpose. So I think you're right. It's one of those softer factors that if you start thinking about all the areas of life and to be successful, first recognizing that we are unsuccessful every day, but continuing to get back up. And the cover of the podcast is literally a guy pushing up, not a circle, not a perfect boulder. You know, it's a boulder that's has valleys and dips, and inside of that, they're going uphill and navigating life's maze in the meantime. And that bowl of spaghetti requires that. You can't stop when a noodle falls, or when you're juggling and a ball falls. You get back up, right? So across the board, I think it's a reminder that it's not something that's taught. It's definitely experienced in sports, which is a phenomenal way to learn that. But besides that, I think it's not talked about enough.
Yeah. And one of the things that's not talked about as well within the context of philosophy, spirituality, theories, and religion, even within the understanding of stewardpreneurs, which utilize all four of those realms, is the kingdom factor. You've named your coaching business the kingdom factor, which is, for me, rings true of faith, regardless of your religion, philosophy, theories, or spirituality. How important is it to, in the concept of a stewardpreneur, to think of things as there is something bigger than me that protects me, promotes me, and loves me more than my mom? How important is that in order to live as a stewardpreneur?
Oh, it's so good. So good, Dave. I think if we step back for a second and think that the world is only about us, and then realize in a quick second that we go back to all of eternity and all the time people have lived, if that's all there is to look back and say I was just a blip, it really skews that perspective. And it reminds us that being mortal, it's a matter of days, weeks, months, hours, whatever your time is, we don't know. But to the question of, when I get to the end, the success, the driving factor, how do you measure it, is to hear those words, well done, good and faithful servant. And so to do the right things with what you've been given requires someone to really realize that there's a bigger purpose beyond today in my world. And it's so easy to be in your brain to say everything revolves around me because we're the only one that experiences me. But a kingdom mindset requires us to think about eternal things, things that are beyond this world, things that are beyond today. And that kingdom mindset is the number one principle. So part of being a kingdom factor and impacting others, I have it really broken down to the core 5 formula of a stewardpreneur is working on your belief system. So getting in line with where are we grounded? How do we use basic biblical principles to do what's right with what we've been given? How do we equip men to take what they've learned and then go apply it to the world? Then we look at stewarding, and again, doing the right things, what we've been given isn't just a financial resource or a time resource, it's all things. And so being able to leverage that is important. And when we do that correctly, we transform. And so part of transformation is actualization and becoming the version of ourselves that we were designed to be, to live on purpose. And so when you screw up royally and you choose to serve money instead of God, the creator, you get yourself out of whack. And I recently heard something you say, Dave, about I had a God. It just looked a lot different. It was money at one season of your life. And so I led to infidelity in that season of my life as a believer, as a person who knew right and wrong. But my circumstances got me off course, the 1 in 60 rule. It's easy to get off course by just enough. And so when you get off course, that course correction can be life altering. But the reality is it's a reminder that we do have a true purpose. And when we reorient ourselves beyond our own simple selfishness and pride, we can make a significantly larger impact in this world.
Josh Dietrich, he's a testament to the fact that our thoughts about our purpose are our purpose. And so that we have to do, say, think, feel, and believe aligned with a higher purpose, a higher thought, a higher being, whatever it may be that protects, promotes, and loves us. Be a stewardpreneur, learn from the best, check out the Kingdom Factor coaching that Josh Dietrich gets, and also really enjoy your podcast. I know Blaine would love to have you on his and maybe do a swap and vice versa. The podcast hosts of Successfully Unsuccessful. Let's all live in radical humility and be of service and of value to others. Josh Dietrich, you're welcome here anytime. Keep up the great work and have a wonderful holiday.
Thanks, gentlemen. Appreciate the time.
God.
Have a good 4th.
Great job. Thank you. All right. We're rolling into the Founding Fathers, and we are blessed to chase or pursue our potential. Justine McDonald is here, founder of Goal Chasers. And we want to talk about the Mama's Got Goals planner. That is one hip title to an unbelievable planner, vision board, etc. Welcome to Office Hours on our American holiday. I know you enjoyed Canada Day a few days ago. So happy Canada belated for you. I celebrate everything celebratable, so I try to keep up on whatever it is. Hallmark makes a fortune off of me, but that's okay. Give me a little bit of an idea coming from the son of an incredible mama who has empowered me with a blessed life. Give me a little bit of background on where the Mama's Got Goals planner came from, as I'm sure you have a unique journey in support and challenges that exist of being a mom.
Yeah, thank you so much. So my journey actually began when I was about 10 years old, and my mom was the age that I am today, which is so crazy to think about. And in a blink of an eye, she went from having a lot of goals on her board, things that she wanted to accomplish, and then she got sick. And all the things that were on the shelf for when my kids get older, when I have more time, when I have more money, all of them are no longer a possibility for her. So I unconsciously built my life for years to get to the age that I am today, knowing that at 41, my life might completely change. It might stop. A lot of the things that I hoped would happen one day may not be possible for me. And so when I built the Mama's Got Goals planner, it came from a deep desire to build something of my own and to build something that I could look back on and be proud of. But even deeper than that, it was, I need something intentional. I need an intentional tool that allows me to remind myself to work on my goals every day when life gets busy, when my kids are crazy, and when I feel like I don't have a second for myself. I need a daily reminder that tells me my life has a due date. My life has a limited amount of time, and I didn't want to forget that. So when I created the Mama's Got Goals planner, it was to remind moms that life is busy, but you're important, and you were a person for 20, 30 years before you were a mom, and that person deserves to have some stage time in your life.
You know, Justine, I love the idea of, yeah, I've got an expiry date, a due by date. Yeah, I carry a coin around, and I have for years. It says "Memento Mori." Remember, I must die. And I touch that, I don't know how many times, probably 50, 60 times a day, because it's in my pocket. It's always accessible. And as a reminder, remember, I'm gonna one of these days I'm gonna just walk away from here. Tomorrow is not a day that appears on the calendar. Really, it's all I have is today. All I have is now. And if I'm not in some way, shape, or form moving towards that ideal that is worthy of me, worthy of my life, I'm missing incredible opportunities to experience what I'm truly here to experience, and that robs my kids of an incredible example of what it means to be truly human. When you're working with your clients, when you're working with your family, in the busyness of life, when you've got this carpool that needs to get this kid there and that kid there, how do you actually find a way to keep what's important in its appropriate place, not putting it out to tomorrow, but keeping it? How do you actually leverage that? How do you actually make that happen, rather than have it just be a good idea in a note on a planner?
Yeah, like the word I use often is self-permission. So I actually just returned last week from an 11-day trip. I went and celebrated my girlfriend, my lifelong friend's 40th birthday. And I did one day in Amsterdam, and I did one day in Paris, and I was gone for 11 days on my own. And let me tell you, the mental work, I used to, the self-permission in the early days of being a mom was going to a hotel for one night by myself and justifying it by working, doing a little bit of business planning. And now I've come to the point where I really truly believe that I deserve an experience in my life because it is my life. There was a whole person that lived and dreamed before she became a wife, before she became a mom. And I constantly remind myself of that if I don't give myself that permission, I have 2 little girls that I'm raising. And they're watching me, and they're deciding what it means to be a mom. They're deciding what it means to be a wife, and what's available for them is a reflection of what I model for them. And so if I want them to go out and believe that they can do anything and that they deserve the world, I have to show that to them. So yeah, there's those days where it's so crazy and I can't seem to catch a breath, but I schedule it into my calendar. It is absolutely mandatory for me that I have days that are just about Justine. They're not about grocery orders. They're not about dropping off school forms. They are just to pour into myself, because I also know, as a busy entrepreneur and a busy mom, I know that I perform better, right? We've all had those days where our parenting is not the reflection of who we would like to be. And so putting those days in my calendar allows me to show up as a better parent. So I make it mandatory.
Great.
That is beautiful. We have to take care of ourselves first. And I talk about first responders, United States veterans here on 4th of July, and moms that may not understand the entire flow of giving. They just give 100% and think it eventually, by only receiving less back every time they give 100%, that somehow they're not going to end up at zero. It's a zero-sum game as a mom a lot of times. And I saw my mom live in that zero-sum game. And I think it's a great testament through your online courses, your events, the coaching that you do, and of course the Mama's Got Goal planner, to be able to prioritize self. We can't give what we don't have, so that we give 100%, we give more, we're given more, we receive more, and we can even ask for more than more, so we can give to our children and our husbands and everyone else more than enough of everything for everyone, instead of the zero-sum game that so many moms, whether they're married or single, end up in, and wonder why they're so empty with nothing Thank you so much, Justine, for joining us on this American holiday. I hope you enjoyed yours as well. Everyone, learn more about the Goal Chasers at thegoalchasers.com. Online courses, events, coaching, and of course, get yourself the Mama's Got Goals planner. You don't got to be a mama to utilize it, by the way. Thanks for joining us. We'll have you back soon. Thanks, Justine.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Justin.
Yeah, I had Justin on my mind, Blaine. You know that. So anyway, what's our takeaway for this wonderful holiday?
I think I'm going to go back to what I said right at the beginning here, and in a number of different ways. Our guests, I think, kind of illustrated this, but embracing diversity. Honest to God, David, it really does kind of come down to that for me. Diversity, whether it's financial diversity, whether it's the success or lack of success I experienced in my life at some point in time, that's a different way of looking at life. My goals, setting, taking time for myself. There's a diverse way that I go about living this life that is unique to me. And when I find ways to make it my life, this is my life. I'm presented with all kinds of ways that I can actually assemble this thing. And if one of them isn't working, it doesn't mean that I screwed up. It means that I just get to reassemble the pieces in a different way. But I have to have pieces to work with. And the idea of being able to embrace diversity and then to assemble it in a way that actually works for me at this point in time, whether it's, again, financial or whether it's in my marriage, my business, whatever it might be. I think that's the beauty of life. That's the beauty of being able to actually say and make the declaration. As the Buddhists talked about, I'm sitting under the Bodhisattva tree. Yeah. What's true? Well, the only thing that I know is what's true is I am. And I move from there. That's the truth. I am. Now, how do I express that? That's the beauty. And I think that's the promise of the 4th of July. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I am.
I love it. Well, that declaration is my takeaway, the declaration of I am. And what am I doing to interfere with it? Whether it is a declaration of financial freedom like Michael Scarpati can help us with, or the declaration of faith as Josh Dietrich incorporates that into stewardship and stewardpreneur by making a lot of money, helping a lot of people, and having a lot of fun. And of course, whenever we use a goal planner, coaching, online courses, it's a declaration of what I want, not what other people want, what's missing and what we don't have, or what's interfering with it. Everyone enjoy their declaration. Remember, the thoughts about your purpose are your purpose, but they start with the declaration, as Blaine has incorporated and suggested as well, of I am. What am I doing to interfere with what I am? I am all, more than enough of everything for everyone. I want to wish everyone a happy holiday. I want to wish Blaine and Cynthia, go to blainebartlett.com and move your possibilities into reality. He's done it for me, my team, and some humongous companies around the world for, believe it or not, almost as long as I've been alive. So this man is experienced. He has paid the dummy tax. He not only has the situational knowledge and relationship capital, but he has the heart and emotional integrity to help everyone out there. blainebartlett.com. Declare your freedom, but find someone who sits in a situation that you want to be in and ask him for help. Blaine's a perfect guy. Trust me. I use him all the time. Blaine, enjoy your holiday. Thanks for taking the time.
Same here. You too. Enjoy your game.
We got it. He's waiting for me. So thanks.
Okay.
All right, everyone. Just real quick, we will be in Las Vegas next week. So come to our VIP dinner right before the Forward event. We will be in Vegas on the 11th. Come to our meetup, come to the studio, come to our VIP dinner on the 11th of this month. And then the next week, SoFi Mastermind on the 15th. And of course, come join Dane Cook and I, come collaborate us, jump on stage. Rob Riggle will be the MC and the host. We got Blaine Bartlett, Cynthia, Baron Davis, Marshall Falk. The list is so deep. You just go to Ticketmaster and get your tickets, or email me, ticketmaster.com, the collab with David Meltzer and Dane Cook. Also email me, david@dmeltzer.com, and then we'll take the overnight into Aspire, Martha Stewart, A-Rod, Big Poppy, myself, Tim Story, Madison Square Garden, and we'll have a VIP Aspire dinner after that as well in Manhattan on the 20th. And then I'm going to try to stop by WealthCon on the way back in Las Vegas. So it's back to back to back over 200 cities. Get your free book by scanning this thing right here or there, wherever, right there. Scan that thing, get a free book. I'll send it, sign it, pay for shipping and the book. If you want to join our text community to know the 200 cities we're in this year, 949-298-2905, 949-298-2905. Remember, most importantly, on the 4th of July, be more interested than interesting. Be kind to your future self and do good deeds. Have a happy holiday. Thank you, everyone.